Call this first budget hearing to order. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Toole,
Second.
Mr. Hammond, all in favor? Passes 3-0. Purpose of the hearing. Mr. Adams.
Good afternoon, board members and Dr. Branch. Before we get started, we do have a handout available at the back of the room for reference for the budget that we tentatively approved. I want to remind everybody of the purpose of the hearing. The Oconee County Board of Education has tentatively adopted the fiscal year 26 budget. Georgia law requires the budget be advertised after the Board of Education adopts the tentative budget and prior to final adoption. The board is required to hold 2 public hearings for the purpose of providing an opportunity for public input on the tentative budget prior to final adoption. On the screen, you will see our budget calendar. In April, we had our expenditure budget review presentation. We presented the tentative budget on May 12th, and the board tentatively adopted the budget on the same day. The first budget hearing is scheduled for today, May 22nd, 2025 at 4 o'clock here in the board meeting room at the Instructional Support Center, 71 North Main Street in Watkinsville. The second budget hearing is scheduled for May 29th, 2025 at the same time and the same location. Budget considerations for fiscal year 26 budget include salary steps for eligible employees of $1.08 million, health insurance employer contribution of $3.08 million, teacher retirement system employer contribution increase of $1.1 million, and our school resource program at $2.5 million, for total considerations of $7.8 million. With a continuation budget of $112.6 million and additional considerations of $7.8 million, the total budget expenditures amount to $120.5 million. Of the $120.5 million, 88.5% of this fiscal year 26 tentative budget is salaries and benefits, and the remaining 11.5% is operations for daily operations of the entire district. The budget is based on an estimated rollback millage rate of 13.91 mils, a decrease of 2.32% from our current millage rate of 14.25. And again, that would be the lowest millage rate since 1992. This leaves an estimated unassigned fund balance on June 30th, 2025 of a projected amount of $20.45 million. When you add projected revenue of $119 million and deduct expenditures of $120.5 million, you come to an estimating ending fund balance of $23.25 million on June 30th, 2026, which is a projected 19.2% unassigned fund balance. Again, just that represents about 2.5 months of salary and operational expenditures for the school district. For comparison, the best practices that are recommended by DOE and just standard business guidelines suggest maintaining reserves equivalent to 3 to 6 months of such expenses. And I also like to note, if the rollback rate is tentatively adopted, hearings on the millage rate will not be required. For fiscal year 26, both federal expenditures and revenues are projected at approximately $7.6 million. Federal funds make up about roughly 6.5% of the overall budget. And on average, the district administers nine distinct federal grant programs each fiscal year. Again, these funds are basically a pass-through and reimbursement-based, and we get those received on a lag throughout the fiscal year. The budget presentation, budget calendar, and budget documents are posted in Assembly with the corresponding meeting dates mentioned earlier. The board will vote on the fiscal year 26 budget and tentative millage rate at the June 9th board meeting. And that concludes my report, unless the board has any questions.
Well, I just want to thank you, Peter. This is a lot of work, and you teamed an awesome job with this, so a big thank you for that. And I was curious, when was the last time there was a full rollback in our budget?
I think it was 2014. Well, I can verify that and get that information to you. Yes, sir.
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
Communications, Mr. Colquitt.
Thank you, Mr. Ransom. We have one Oconee County resident signed up to address the board. Before I invite her up, I'll read this. Policies BCBI and BCBIR1 state that only Oconee County residents or school system employees may address the board, and that members of the public shall conduct themselves in a respectful manner that is not disruptive to the conduct of the board's business. The board allows 3 minutes for those who sign up prior to the meeting. Please state your name, address, and topic. The board requests that you refrain from making any disparaging remarks about school system personnel. There will generally be no response to comments or questions posed by citizens at the meeting. All comments and questions will be taken under advisement by the board. However, any board member shall be free to respond and make public comments if he or she elects to do so. To any citizen wishing to provide documents for board members, please submit them to the Director of Communications before the meeting or prior to addressing the board. Please remain at the podium during your public comment time. Our speaker is Pamela Hendricks.
Welcome, Ms. Hendricks.
Thank you. Once again, I'm the only one here because this is a very difficult time of day for the public to come, and it just sort of, to me, indicates that y'all don't want to hear from the public. You couldn't even get 2 of your board members here at 4 p.m. So, and this happens every year. As y'all know, I'm usually here at these board meetings, and I think it's, I wanted to say, I just heard the reading. I had a handout I wanted to give each of the board members, but I guess I'll submit it and you can have it for the next meeting. I just wanted to start by saying that, I'm here to speak for the taxpayers that support our public schools. And, I feel like each of the board members have been elected to represent the taxpayers. Once again, it looks like in the coming year, you're expecting 98 fewer students, and yet the budget's going up $5,635,549. I had prepared a handout. I will get it to you for the next public hearing, but I had taken a look at the budgets from fiscal year 2020 through fiscal year 2026, or really just 2025, and I had looked at things. The way this is presented, it looks like, oh, this is all just an increase in teacher salaries and health benefits, and oh, we had to protect our students with the new sheriff's deputies at the schools and that kind of thing. But I propose a different way of looking at it, and we just keep increasing the budget. I thought, gosh, it wasn't long ago it was below below 100 million. And I look back, it was just, it was below 100 million in fiscal year 23. We are now sitting at 120 million, yet for at least 2 years in a row, we've dropped students. And so I looked at it, honestly, it's hilarious. In fiscal year 2021, we added to the budget 6,621,000, but we only added 24 new students. That was 275,000 per student. There's a different way of looking at these things. You've got to start tightening your budget when your students' enrollment's going down. And basically, in Oconee County, because of the high tax rates, families can't afford to live here. Our own local newspaper man can't afford to live in the county that he writes about the paper. I think that's tragic. And I just continued. Another thing I looked at was the cash balance reports, and I just took a snapshot. So I used the April 30th cash balance report, and guess what? It has gone up every single year. I don't care what your budget says, you're holding more and more and more of the taxpayer money. And it's currently at $68 million. That's my money that you're sitting on. And I would just like some consideration of that. And it goes up every year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hendricks.
Mr. Ransom, that concludes public communication.
Thank you, Mr. Colquitt. Any other further business? Hearing is adjourned.